time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, motivational. This is what we call the Muppet Show.
Okay, Oz Comic Con is on its way this weekend. Hal Rail joins us now. Hal, you are a radio guru by the sounds of it, just by talking off camera here. We were just talking about all these cool things with microphones and David Bowie, and your world is a very fascinating world, which we'll get to in a second. What is it about sound that appeals to you?
Well, I love the fact that it is the theater of the mind.
Yeah.
So you can hear things and it will, like you hear a song and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you remember the people you were with
Yeah.
and you remember smells, and it just conjures up that whole vivid reality that exists between your ears.
Yeah.
And I just love that sound. It's when you find something that isn't what it is that presents the sound of something that recreates itself. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about the thumping of tubs and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
How you used to be able to have the wind machines. It would be a giant piece of cloth that they would do that, and that would be what the wind
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
I just love it when you can pick up something like a tin can and thump it the right way, or take two wine glasses and chime them and then bring them back and forth in front of a microphone, and you get this wong, wong,
Yeah, yeah.
wong. It takes, and then you hear that and your mind goes someplace that isn't two glasses going like this. It's just, I love the flavor of sound.
Yeah, theatre of the mind is an amazing thing. I did a radio show called The Ballroom Blitz once, and we were trying to recreate the whole effect of a 1930s or 40s radio announcer on a dance floor. Now, we weren't going to record it every week there, so someone said to me, well, what are we going to do? We recorded it in my disused bathroom with 4 microphones to create that echo.
Yes.
Welcome aboard, it's the Ballroom
That's
Blitz.
the original reverb, it's a bathroom.
Yeah, that's right. And then you're always at the bit in live across America, and people go, wow, how does that work? But when you're doing your voiceovers and you're in the studio, there's an element of being a child, isn't there? Particularly when you're doing all this animation.
Well, absolutely. When I first started into the business, you would go someplace and everything was analog. So if somebody would spend $200,000 and have a room. But now with digital, you can do this all yourself. The difference is that you have to know how to handle all the equipment. So being a voice person now, you have to be an engineer. No longer do you go to someplace where you audition for something with all your peers. Now they send you the script or the copy. You have your own recording studio at home. Some people just have a tiny microphone in a closet. I have a full-on recording studio because of what I do. But yeah, I have, as we were talking about, a wide variety of microphones so that we can get back into the old days of radio. And we can, have the ribbon microphones and get that depth, that feel of the chest. It gives me an extra 100 pounds in my chest that I don't normally have. I'm kind of I would like to say a lower mid-range with a high tenor.
Now, I shot a documentary and it was on Marconi, and I got to hang out with Princess Electra. And when I went through the gates of the Vatican, I'm telling you this story because you'll appreciate it. The Vatican said, Ben, would you like to hold the original microphone that launched Vatican Radio, built out of Carrara stone by Marconi himself? So they took it out of this...
Take my eye teeth, please.
I know. And one of my students said, surely a microphone doesn't have an energy attached to it. And I said, you have no idea.
Oh, the original ones were crystal.
That's it. So when I held this microphone, all I can say to you is, and I'm getting it now, shivers up my spine.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was the first time that Marconi actually used a microphone. And when they were doing all their final tests all the way to New York to make sure that this signal for Vatican Radio worked, there was no way of finding out whether it worked, apart from Morse coding back to the Vatican.
Hence,
yes, we can hear you.
What was the Morse code guy called? Called Sparks.
There you go. With your microphones, when you go into the studio and you're going to do a character, so you've been given a script, do you sit there and work out which microphone is going to suit this character the best?
Well, now I use pretty much a Sennheiser 416, which is, as we know, is a boom microphone. But only because you can have it pointed at the corner of your mouth and you can not project so much.
Yeah.
Because the big thing in voiceover is less is more. You want to preserve your energy. So if you're Marvin the Martian, then you're going like, oh, I must destroy the Earth, and Miss Piggy and things like that. But some microphones, give you too much syllables, like I have a Neumann U87. But I think we're probably getting over the head of our
Oh, I
listeners,
think
aren't we?
we are. But you know what? I think it's good that they understand that you actually put so much time into creating the characters.
Oh, you have to. Every character you do, and the big thing is in voiceover is to be able to be multi-voiced so that you can do different kinds of characters. Like when I did Back to the Future, I got hired to do Einstein the dog, but I actually played 65 other characters that they went back into the past and into the future to meet. So what you have to do is you have to have a laugh, you have to have a cry, you have to have the full range of emotions for any particular voice that you do.
Whether it's a little guy like this,
Or a great big guy like this.
You have to be able to have at the fore, just under the skin, anything that the writers bring forward.
Who's your favourite character that you've played?
Oh, that's so many people, but I really like the HAL 9000. I played the HAL 9000 for Universal Studios, but also Marvin the Martian, Miss Piggy, and Gonzo and Animal for the Muppets, Snarl for Transformers, Shrapnel for Transformers, Deep Six was kind of a Charlie Bronson guy for G.I. Joe. I go down 50 fathoms, I defuse 50 megaton bombs, and Colonel, I like to work alone. So it's what you do is you have to learn, like someone who plays an instrument, where the falsetto is, where the tonality is, and then you just play the strings for the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
For me as a kid growing up watching The Muppet Show, it's funny, we've all been talking about it recently, we're all in our 40s now, that Miss Piggy and Kermit are edged in our minds for life. So is that what
I worked with Jim
Comic-Con
Henson.
is
He's-
about?
Well, the meek shall inherit. This is about as close as you can get to the meek and the smart coming together and enjoying Halloween 365 days a year. It's like, as you were talking to my wife earlier, Maggie Roswell, you said, is it nice to be a kid? Is that important? Absolutely. When you go to Comic-Con, you see people celebrating life. You don't see them caught in life and in the doldrums of it all. You see them escaping from ordinary life, coming to a place where they can have magic and happiness all at the same time. And the Oz Comic-Con is the perfect place for you to be able to meet that inner child and greet that big smile that's waiting to be on your face.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a smile, go to Oz and get one.
Finally, a character in the world of the comic world and the cartoon world never dies.
Well,
I was just thinking it would be fascinating to have an interview with Miss Piggy, her last legacy.
Let me just say that when you're a pig, all right, so there we are, it's out in front. When you're a pig, life is so big, and sometimes all you need to do is just put a smile on your face and wear pearls.
Hal, thank you very much for your time.
All right.
We look forward to seeing you down there over the weekend. Fantastic. Oz Comic Con.
Come on down.